The warning signs have been flashing for years, like flickering neon lights in a decaying casino. These lights, showing the signs of age, now struggle to maintain even a sickly glow, much like the subject of our story. Donald Trump, who once proudly proclaimed himself a stable genius, now stumbles through speeches, his words reduced to a jumbled mix of grievances and boasts. In many ways, Trump embodies Shakespeare's words from Macbeth, where everything he says is full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. His memory falters more with each passing day, leaving him grasping for names and dates, like a gambler chasing a losing streak. The bravado that once defined his public persona has devolved into theatrics more suited to an examination room at a mental institution than the White House. Whispers of cognitive decline have transformed into a chorus of concern. Political analysts and medical experts alike have begun to voice their worries more openly, pointing to a pattern that cannot be ignored. Observers note his rambling pronouncements, his difficulty articulating coherent thoughts, and his apparent inability to recall even recent events. These are not isolated incidents but part of a growing trend that paints a troubling picture. These troubling signs are not merely the quirks of an aging politician. They suggest a deeper, more concerning issue that goes beyond the normal aging process. They paint a stark and unsettling picture of a man whose mental faculties appear to be unraveling. The distress in his eyes and the confusion in his expressions are hard to miss. The physical signs, too, are impossible to ignore. His movements, once brisk and confident, now seem labored and slow. His gait has slowed, his posture stooped. The physical decline mirrors the cognitive challenges he faces, creating a comprehensive picture of deterioration. Trump increasingly appears frail and unsteady, his face often etched with a vacant expression. The contrast between his past vigor and his current state is striking and poignant. While appearances can be deceiving, these outward transformations mirror the troubling internal decline that many fear is gripping the former president. The juxtaposition of his past and present selves serves as a stark reminder of the relentless march of time and the toll it takes. Mental health professionals bound by ethical constraints are hesitant to offer definitive diagnoses from afar. They emphasize the importance of thorough, in-person evaluations to ensure accuracy and fairness in any psychological assessment. Yet, many see in Trump's behavior the hallmarks of narcissistic personality disorder. His public persona, marked by grandiose statements and a relentless pursuit of admiration, often mirrors the textbook definition of this condition. This condition, characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a desperate need for admiration, and a lack of empathy, aligns with Trump's well-documented history of grandiosity, self-aggrandizement, and callous disregard for others. His frequent appearances on magazine covers and at opulent events further underscore his need to be in the spotlight. Some experts go further, suggesting that Trump's behavior extends beyond narcissism into the realm of antisocial personality disorder. This more severe diagnosis includes traits such as deceitfulness, impulsivity, and a blatant disregard for the safety and rights of others. This diagnosis, characterized by a pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others, would explain his long history of alleged fraud, deception, and exploitation. Legal battles and accusations of unethical behavior have been a constant in his career, painting a troubling picture of his interactions with others. His obsession with crowd size, a seemingly trivial matter, takes on a darker significance when viewed through the lens of these potential diagnoses. The fixation on numbers and public approval reveals a deeper psychological need for validation and control. For someone with a narcissistic personality, the adoration of the masses is not merely gratifying, it is essential to their sense of self-worth. The cheers and applause from supporters act as a lifeline, bolstering their fragile self-esteem. Trump's desperate need to inflate attendance figures at his rallies and events speaks to a deep-seated insecurity, a fragile ego that requires constant external validation. This behavior is not just about numbers. It's about maintaining an image of unassailable popularity and success. The potential implications of these mental health concerns are profound. When a leader's actions are driven by psychological needs rather than rational decision-making, the consequences can be far-reaching and unpredictable. A president, even a former one, wields immense power and influence. Their decisions can shape national policies, international relations, and the lives of millions. If that power is held by someone struggling with mental instability, The risks to the nation and the world are significant. The potential for erratic behavior, impulsive decisions, and a lack of empathy in leadership can lead to crises that affect global stability and security. While mental decline casts a long shadow, it is the legal system that poses the most immediate threat to Donald Trump's future. The gravity of his situation cannot be overstated, as the legal challenges he faces are both numerous and severe. The walls of justice, once seemingly distant, are closing in, threatening to trap him in a web of his own making. Each legal proceeding adds another layer of complexity and danger to his already precarious position. The 34 felony counts related to alleged hush money payments are just the tip of the legal iceberg. These charges alone could lead to significant legal repercussions, but they are far from the only issues he faces. Investigations into election interference, obstruction of justice, and potential financial crimes loom large, each carrying the potential for further indictments and lengthy prison sentences. The breadth and depth of these investigations suggest a long and arduous legal battle ahead. Trump's legal troubles are not mere partisan attacks. They are the result of years of alleged misconduct, fueled by a belief that he was above the law. This sense of invincibility has now led him to a point where the consequences of his actions are catching up with him. His decision to run for president again in 2024 is viewed by many not as a genuine desire to serve the country, but as a desperate attempt to evade accountability. The timing of his announcement raises questions about his true motivations and whether he sees the presidency as a sanctuary from legal peril. Trump seems to believe that the presidency offers a shield from prosecution, a way to delay or derail the legal processes he so clearly fears. This belief underscores his strategy to use political power as a means of personal protection. The weight of these legal battles is evident in Trump's demeanor. His once unshakable confidence has given way to visible stress and anxiety, reflecting the seriousness of the charges he faces. Gone is the swaggering confidence of his early presidency, replaced by a palpable anxiety, a sense that the walls are indeed closing in. The contrast between his past and present demeanor is stark, highlighting the profound impact of his legal troubles. The once unthinkable prospect of a former president facing criminal convictions is now a very real possibility. This unprecedented situation raises significant questions about the future of American politics and the rule of law, as the nation watches closely to see how these legal battles will unfold. Section 4. A campaign forged in fear. Trump's 2024 campaign is not built on a foundation of policy proposals or a vision for the future. It is, instead, a campaign fueled by fear, resentment, and a desperate clinging to power. The legal threats he faces are the driving force, the dark cloud that hangs over every rally, every speech, every tweet. He seeks to portray himself as a victim, a martyr persecuted by a corrupt establishment determined to silence him. This narrative, while demonstrably false, resonates with his base, feeding their anger and reinforcing their belief that he is the only one who can save America. However, the cracks in this facade are becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Trump's once magnetic hold on the Republican Party is weakening. His legal troubles, his erratic behavior, and his increasingly unhinged rhetoric have alienated moderate Republicans and independent voters, leaving him increasingly reliant on a shrinking base of diehard supporters. Section 5. The Ascent of Kamala Harris. As Trump's star fades, another political figure is rising, Kamala Harris, the first female vice president, former U.S. Senator and Attorney General of California, and a seasoned prosecutor in San Francisco after completing law school. Harris is a historic candidate for unprecedented times, the first Asian American and African American woman to be nominated for the presidency by a major party. She embodies the shift in U.S. democracy from a historically white majoritarian system to a diverse, multiracial democracy reflective of the present era. Harris is everything Trump is not: younger, self-made, and committed to justice since her days at UC Law San Francisco. This race pits a criminal prosecutor against a convicted felon. Harris's presence on the national stage has further inflamed Trump's insecurities. Her popularity, particularly among women and minority voters, represents everything he fears and loathes. He sees her as a threat, a symbol of the changing demographics and evolving values that threaten his grip on power. Trump's attacks on Harris are often laced with sexism and racism, reflecting his deep-seated prejudices and his inability to accept a woman of color in a position of power. These attacks, however, are likely to backfire, further alienating moderate voters and energizing the Democratic base. Section 6. A crowd of one. Trump's obsession with crowd size, once a source of amusement, has taken on a pathetic quality. His rallies, once overflowing with fervent supporters, now draw smaller, less enthusiastic crowds. The energy is gone, replaced by a sense of obligation, a duty to support their beleaguered leader. He still boasts about the size of his crowds, inflating figures and claiming record attendance, but the evidence contradicts his claims. The empty seats, the dwindling enthusiasm, the lack of media coverage all tell a different story. Trump, however, seems oblivious to this reality. He lives in a world of his own making, a world where he is still the adored, the invincible, the chosen one. It is a world increasingly detached from reality, where the cheers of the crowd have been replaced by the echo chamber of his own delusions. If you found this insightful, don't forget to subscribe to The Intellectualist on YouTube. Stay informed, stay engaged. Subscribe now to catch more of our thought-provoking content.